In preparing to write this speech, I came up with quite a few different cultures that I belong to. I first thought about being Midwestern and how small town living impacted me. I thought about belonging to the acting community, and I even wrote 3 pages on being in the Taylor Swift fandom. I am a big Swiftie, and you may still hear some of those pages when I give my informative speech, so I'll apologize in advance. But then I realized that there is a cultural community that I belong to that I was a little afraid to give this speech on, and that is the LGBTQ+ community. Isn't that crazy? I'm 32 years old and I'm still a little tentative to admit that I'm gay. But then I asked myself, well, why am I so afraid to speak on my queer culture? And the answer is that fear and shame are a big part of this community. To be a part of the queer community means to go against what is considered to be the traditional norm. Society sets up certain rules and standards that one must adhere to in order to feel accepted. And one of the big underlying reasons for this is religion. Now, I don't want to get into a religious debate, but I'll offer up a personal story that I think encapsulates this. When I was in middle school, I was a part of my church's youth group, and we were having Bible study one day. I remember our youth group leader asked all of us whether or not we thought homosexuals belonged in the kingdom of heaven. Now, I was still very much in the closet at this point, so I stayed quiet. But there was a kid a few seats down from me who raised his hand and, to my astonishment, quoted the Bible. Leviticus 18, verse 22. Do not lie with a man as one lies with a woman. That is detestable. Now, that one verse sent me into a spiral of shame and self-loathing because in that moment I realized there were people out there who thought I was detestable. And folks wonder why queer individuals are so scared to come out of the closet. There is a fear of exposing oneself to ridicule, misunderstanding, and possible abandonment. But sadly, this is a ritual that all queer people must go through. The coming out process is different for everyone. For me, I decided to tackle it in waves. The first people I told were my closest friends, those who I knew wouldn't care and likely already knew. The first family member I told was my aunt. We've always been so close, so I knew it was going to be a safe space, and sure enough, she responded with nothing but love and support. And that gave me the confidence to tell the rest of my family. What's interesting though, looking back on this now, is that the 2 people I was most scared of telling were my brother-in-law and my dad. I think a lot of gay men are initially scared to tell the other men in their lives because they're scared they're going to think of them differently. There are so many stereotypes in the media that constantly get reinforced saying that all gay men are effeminate or all gay men are in some way sexually aggressive. There is a fear that the men in their lives will love them differently. Now, luckily, that wasn't the case for me, but I know too many people who had vastly different experiences. Now, once I came out to everyone, I remember feeling this giant weight lifted off my shoulder. Truly, it gets better. And once I was honest with myself, I found myself fully embraced by the LGBTQ+ community. And honey, what a community. So enough of the doom and gloom. I'm here to tell you that most of queer culture is all sunshine and rainbows, and there's a little something for everyone. After all, this is a community of activism, of giving back, and of family. It's true what they say that once you come out, you sort of adopt a second queer family. People you bring into your life to help nurture and guide you. My queer family introduced me to fighting on the front lines for fair treatment under the law. They took me to my first Pride parade and allowed me to celebrate myself, all of myself. And they even introduced me to gay sports. And by that, I mean RuPaul's Drag Race and the Real Housewives of whatever city you want. These shows really act like any other sporting event. You get to pick your favorites and cheer them on, but these shows feel like they were made for us, and that makes them special. What's great about LGBTQ plus culture is that it's ever changing. I am hopeful for a day when young queer kids no longer feel the need to come out of the closet or feel ashamed of themselves. And luckily, we are seeing sparks of that even today. But it's important to remember that there is a community for them and a culture waiting to embrace them as soon as they're ready.